You're listening to the Valley Labor Report with David Story and Jacob Morrison.
We've got Mark on the line. We were talking. Mark was calling about. We had a call from. I'm not sure specifically which one, but we've had a couple calls about the prison system here in Alabama. We had Swift Justice call in to talk to us about the prison strike that's going to be happening in Alabama come January. We had Tahira, president of the Huntsville Bail Fund, calling to talk to us about getting innocent families or innocent. People to pay their bail to allow them to see their families over the holidays, and so he had a question for us. So Mark, what you got?
Well, I'm just kind of, you guys say that people are innocent. I get that they're innocent until proven guilty.
That's correct. They are innocent.
But there's some people that go into jail that someone arrests that isn't necessarily innocent, in the sense of, if you get a DUI and you're above the legal limit and you're drunk, there's a little bit of guilt there, I think.
Well, there's guilt once it's proven. There's guilt once it's proven.
I mean, we're talking about
you just can't let somebody out. You just can't let somebody out just because it's not necessarily they didn't break a law.
Mark, here's my problem with that. I don't have a problem. If there are people that are dangerous, that are a threat to society, that you're reckoning that they ought not be let out, then we should just say that you can't get out. We shouldn't have a system where people that are poor where people who are poor, who are arrested for marijuana or something, don't have the ability to pay bail, and they're stuck in the prison system, while rich folks who get arrested for a DUI are able to pay bail and go home and be a threat to society. What we ought to have is a system that has nothing to do with money and has everything to do with justice and safety and rehabilitation. If we want to talk about keeping society safe from people that are threatening to society, then we should evaluate the risk that this person has to society and say whether or not we can afford to let them out of prison based on their risk to society. We should, whether or not they can pay, should have absolutely nothing to do with whether or not they can see their families over the holidays. I mean, I don't think that's crazy. I think I'm like a normal person with that opinion, right?
What do you think as far as the money, when you see certain situations where people in those, they have enough money to get drugs, they have enough money to get certain things, you don't think that just because they're managing their money well?
Mark, tell me, Mark,
the point that he's saying, and Jacob bloviates a little bit, but the point that he is making is, if it's a threat to society, then we don't let them out.
Yeah.
If they're not a threat to society, then we let them out until they are able to stand trial and are either convicted or are not convicted. It's as simple as that. Yeah. But this bail, this idea that if you're accused of committing a crime and then you have to come up with $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, there's not a lot of people that can come up with that kind of money to get out of jail while they're waiting trial.
Well, do you think that the monetary thing, setting that up, is to punish the poor people, or is it a situation where it's hopefully to try to deter them from getting themselves in that situation? Like, I'm not rich, but I don't want to go out. I don't go out and drink. I take, get friends to drive me home or to do something like that because I don't have $10,000 to pay for a DUI.
Yeah, I don't think most people do, and I don't think most people go out with the idea that they're going to commit a DUI on the weekend.
Well, if you go out and pound a bunch of alcohol, you can't drive. I mean, I see what you guys are saying, but what's the deterrent?
Well, the deterrent
is the jail time, but the deterrent is not that you get arrested and then you spend 2 or 3 or 4 months waiting on a trial, and if you don't have $10,000 to $15,000 to $20,000 to pay for it, then you're stuck there. That's not the deterrent. For one thing, it's not fiscally responsible for taxpayers to support someone in jail. If they're not a threat to society, let them out and continue working while they wait for their trial. I mean, this thought that we're just going to keep people locked up indefinitely waiting on a trial, and everybody knows, if you do any research whatsoever, the courts are absolutely backlogged. It's a drain on society. Even even libertarians, even Republicans, if they open their eyes up, can recognize that this is insanity, and it costs us more money in the long run.
But the thing you guys aren't, what's the deterrent? Because what I hear this
the deterrent is the jail time once you are convicted. The deterrent is that we're just going to arrest people and put them in jail and wait 6 months for their trial. That's that.
But if you've listened to your show this morning, it's a situation to where let's make jail like a hotel and let's let them make a bunch of money and do all these things. You guys haven't done anything that's a deterrent. I'd want to go there and stay if I had lived in a bad situation.
Well, I think when you consider make a bunch of money, I don't think making $40 a week
they shouldn't make any money.
A bunch of money, but the point is
they shouldn't make any money.
In many cases, there's a family that's out there that needs support. There could be, in some cases, where the person that's being locked up has to pay spousal support. If that money's going back into the spousal support to support the kids, and guess what? That takes a drain off of society, because if they're not putting that money back into their spousal support or their child support, then who's going to make up the difference? We are, through taxpayer dollars.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the most fiscal responsible thing that you can do. And it's amazing to me that you have so many people arguing about it. I guess they're jealous that people are getting put in jail and may make $200 a week, a fair $6-7 an hour wage job. Are you jealous of that?
No, I'm not jealous. But I think if I live a life, I teach my kids. Can y'all let me talk for 1 second? I teach my kids, and I teach people around me. You live a life where you don't do that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
But if it's a situation, I take care of my kids. I am divorced. I pay child support just like anybody else. I'm not rich, but I keep myself in a situation where I don't do anything that's breaking the law.
Yeah, well, that you know of.
I'm not jealous.
That you know of, because there are laws out there that.
Well, I mean, I'm sure he's
every day.
Oh, come on! I know. We're sitting here talking about. I don't do drugs. I don't go get DUIs. I don't do anything that breaks the law. I mean,
and you've never
if you want to nitpick it to make your story sound better.
You never made a mistake in your life.
I've never done anything that criminally I could go to jail for. No, sir.
That's amazing. I mean, you're one of the very few, because even myself have made mistakes in my life.
There's a bunch of people out there that don't break laws.
Okay.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't understand. Mark, thanks for your call. I do appreciate it. I appreciate folks with different opinions, but I really struggle to see what it was that we said that was crazy. Like what we've said so far, basically what we've advocated so far on the show today, with respect to the prison criminal legal system, is that one, people, the conditions in the prisons should be sanitary. I think that's reasonable. Another is that they should be compensated for their labor. I don't think that's unreasonable. That people who work should be compensated for their labor. That people who are not a menace to society, who are not a threat to society, should not be held indefinitely before their trial because they are poor, because they can't afford to pay bail, while rich people can get arrested and pay bail just as soon as they go in the prison doors.
Or like we talked just a moment ago with Cepeda. Or they can just get sent back. I mean, we just say, don't worry about it.
I mean, I don't think these are like radical things. I think these are just like, these are reasonable, fiscally conservative, justice oriented, just normal people. I want society to be good opinions. I've got some more like radical opinions on the criminal legal system, but I don't want to go into them right now. But what we've said today, I don't know. I don't think it was crazy. I feel like it's just normal stuff that we're talking about. We are continuing with our Open Line Saturday. We've got about 8 minutes left. If you want to give us a call, 1-866-494-9866 is the number, 1-866-494-WVNN. We are coming to you commercial-free, courtesy of the Alabama AFL-CIO. We do not have any commercials, save for the top and bottom of the hour news breaks. We generally have a lot more. We generally have commercials. We have some sponsors that we appreciate. Not running those commercials this week because the Alabama AFL-CIO has sponsored the show today so that we can take more calls. And specifically, hopefully, about unions. So if you've got a question about unions, give us a call, 1-866-494-9866, 1-866-494-9866.
Yeah, we've got about 8 minutes left in the show, so not a whole lot of time left, but we can answer a quick call or two. If you want to get on the line talking about how the people in the prison are doing better than you, it's probably not the best time to call, but it's insane, man. I mean, it's really, I don't know. It's heartbreaking for me to listen to people call and make these arguments, and it's just like the argument when Brother Cruz was on the line a while ago with the Amazon workers. You have so many people that just hate in the world, and they say, oh, why do you need unions at Amazon? Because they're thugs, they're Democrat supporters, this, that, and the other, and it's like, I don't want anybody on food stamps, but I don't want anybody to make a fair wage to where they don't have to be on food stamps. I don't want to subsidize anybody's health care, but I don't want to force the workers the employers to pay a living wage to where the employees can have health care. I don't want these people in jail to be sucking up my taxpayer dollars and have cable or have anything, but yet we don't want them to make a fair wage whenever they're in and be able to support families that they may have. It's just it's a constant contradiction. And it goes back to it goes back to you just don't give a crap about I almost said it.
I know
that you don't give a crap about nobody but you and yours. And it's really unfortunate to hear my fellow citizens out there make those arguments.
Yeah. Well, David curses like a sailor, so it's amazing that he hadn't got us kicked off the air.
It really is amazing. I do my best.
But yeah, it does, like, like I said, I've got some radical opinions about the criminal legal system, but it does genuinely, like, it startles me that we've got that there are people that will argue for the status quo, knowing what we know about the criminal legal system in America, knowing that we have more prisoners locked behind bars than any country in the world right now, than any other dictatorship, authoritarian regime.
We've got more laws in America.
Look at
the Constitution. We've had it on the daggum ballot this past month.
The Alabama Constitution.
Let's rewrite the Constitution because we still got racist language, and there's so many laws, and anybody that says I don't break the law is an absolute flat-out liar.
Yeah, well, I mean, what do you reckon?
Knowingly break the law.
Yeah, well, I mean, what do you reckon the over-under is that he smoked pot before? I mean,
I'm not going to make a judgment call on something like that. But everybody's sped. Everybody has done something.
Yeah, I mean, but like seriously, in Huntsville, black folks are 11 times more likely to be arrested for marijuana possession than white folks. In Huntsville, this is our backyard. And the study after study after study after study has shown white folks...
Well, half the other states in America is legalized or decriminalized it or made medical marijuana. I mean,
we've got people...
We arrest people. I just listened yesterday. We arrest people that just happen to be driving through the state with marijuana and a medical marijuana card, and we put them in jail even though they're recognized by
disabled
other states.
Veteran.
Yes,
a disabled veteran from another state who had a prescription for medical marijuana was arrested and tried and convicted and sentenced to 5 to 6 years in the Alabama prison system
That's
because of our
offender.
backwards antiquated nonsense laws on marijuana. A disabled veteran came through here, and he hasn't gotten a pardon from the governor. And won't. Or Trump. People talk about him being a criminal justice reformer. He could as he's going out, he could release every single nonviolent drug person who's in prison for nonviolent drug use. He could immediately give them a pardon as he's going out, and he would have done more good in America than almost any other president if he just did that.
The problem is, when you've created all of these privatized prison systems where a corporation owns the prison system and they're making money off the backs of the workers, and in many cases they have written agreements with the states to where the state has to maintain a certain percentage of people in that prison, it's an exploitative system. They are using that, and they're not going to release them because you know why? Because if they get down below the 80% requirement, that the 80% level of,
and they lose funding.
Exactly. Then the state has to start paying the difference, and so there's a incentive for the state to keep people locked up in prison, because guess what? We've already signed a contract that says if we don't maintain 80%, then we've got to make up the difference. Yeah. Well, then we're not going to pay it. We're not going to force the taxpayers to pay it. We're going to start putting more people in prison. Yeah. And people can say that's conspiratorial, but if you go out and look, that's the absolute fact of what's happening in all of these private prison systems. And I just heard this past week, we've got 3 coming to the state of Alabama. 3 privatized prison systems coming to the state of Alabama. Wonderful.
Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate your time. If you want to see what we're up to throughout the week and get our snide quips about the news of the day, then you should follow us on social media. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/Valley Labor Report. We're on Twitter at Labor Reporters. I'm on Twitter at JacobM_AL. David is on Twitter at Radical Unionist. That's spelled RADICL Unionist. If you missed part of the show and want to go back and watch it later, search YouTube for The Valley Labor Report and subscribe to our channel. You can go back and watch the full show there, and we also clip segments throughout the week. And we also upload the program on more than 11 different podcasting apps. So you can see if we're on your listening platform of choice. You can go to thevalleylaborreport.transistor.fm/subscribe. And if you appreciate our work and want to help us stay on the air, then consider throwing us a couple dollars a month on patreon.com/The Valley Labor Report.